Right now, we'd like to continue with the composition by yours truly.
Yeah, welcome to the Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. And I hope you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if my audio is coming in clear. Blessings to the people. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you to the several people who have joined here today. I greatly appreciate your time. Blessings to Lizard Tree. Thank you for being here. Yeah, blessings to Name Isn't Important. I greatly appreciate you, Armando. Blessings to you. And I hope you're in good health and everything's okay. And Alchemos, thank you for watching, my friend. Greatly appreciate your time. Yeah, thank you guys for letting me know about the audio there. I greatly appreciate you guys. Greetings from the graveyard. Yep. Calix, blessings, brother. Thank you for joining and for listening, my dear friend. I greatly appreciate your time. Man, I got some crazy sounds for you guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been watching the music shows I've been doing. Oof. Crazy sounds I've been putting out. I mean, in terms of there's some music I've been listening to that's just been oof. Very, very inspirational recently. That's one thing I have very well figured out is how I spend my solitude, right? A lot of books, a lot of music, right? I can't wait to be alone sometimes, right? And so on and so forth. Obviously, I spend most of my time alone. So that may come as no surprise to anyone out there. But yeah, I'm not really I mean, other than the show, I'm not really a people person, I guess you could say, right? So there is that aspect of things. I greatly appreciate you. Surrounded by Keith. Thank you for watching. Yeah, blessings, guys. Thank you, guys. All right, I'll begin now. So, we've been talking here on the Machine Lies about several different things. Yeah, don't know why that it would be Alchemos. But yeah, it's supposed to be very clear because I'm now using an audio interface. So I'm not sure what the deal is there, but yeah. But yeah, we'll get the normal cable that I have hooked up soon because I usually have a USB to XLR cable that just plugs into the microphone using a USB device. So that's usually way more sturdy, right? I don't know why that works better, right? But yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you guys having patience for our little audio glitches. But nonetheless, I've been talking here about lots of different items, right? And I see people pouring in here. I'm going to get started here, right? Thank you guys for joining. The thing I've been touching on is sort of different developments of man throughout history. Okay, and what I'm trying to look at is the root of humanism in transhumanism. Okay, and the root of liberalism in this techno-liberalism, right? So techno-liberalism is a ideal, right? Or technical humanism, right? It's sort of an ideal that's been exploited, right, by the world technological system, right? So we're talking about a sort of system, right, where sort of the interplay of resources, right, and technologies plays a sort of critical role in deciding world politics, right? So we're seeing a sort of the nation state model is subsiding, right? So that is what's subsiding, right? What created the nation state model was liberalism, right? So since the nation state model created its successor in terms of a world technological system, right, where I said it's based on the interplay between the technosphere and the ecosphere, right? So since politics moves to this global dimension, right, focusing on the ecosphere and the technosphere, right, the nation state model subsides. Okay, so the death of the nation state, the death of capitalism, and the death of the democratic and liberal way of thinking, right? Due to the expansion of new technologies. Okay, and the interplay as a result of that between technocracy on the one end and technical humanism on the other end. Right? This is why we say, to paraphrase the words of Jacques Ellul, that liberalism gave birth to its executioner, right? Which is the technological society, right? In an attempt to generalize and, expand man's freedom, right? They figured out that they would have to actually change man on a very basic level, right? So this would lead to the alteration of man, right? So that, as I've put forward many times on the show, right, the end result of history would then be this transformed man, right? The transformed version of man. I know I have certain like tics and sometimes I repeat certain words. I notice like when I watch this back, right, I'll say right a lot, or I'll say like something, I'll say like a word I'll keep repeating. I'm sorry about my clicks. I'm not like a professional speaker here, right? I'm trying to condense lots of information. So I apologize for that. And we are doing one take sort of explanations here. We're not going to be doing the jump cut explanations that you see on other channels, right? As you can see, the paint on my microphone is nearly all gone, right? I've held it for so many days, right? So yeah, it used to be all black right here, right? So yeah. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, the interplay between the technosphere and the ecosphere, right? The interplay between technocracy and technical humanism, right? Which kind of forms this complex of techno-liberalism. Okay, where previously the sort of goal was for man to define himself, right? This was the new definition of freedom for man, as we've discussed on the show many times. Okay, that in sort of taking out the transcendental realm, right, man finally got to sort of define himself, right? And the way that he chose to define himself was a nation state model, right? They thought expansion of man's freedoms, right, through science and liberalism, that man would finally reach cosmic heights. He no longer had to idealize these things or make them up. He could simply go there. Yo, blessings. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for watching. And also thank you, Neurojack. Some of our original homies out here. Also, Joe Cool, blessings, sir. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. So yeah. So I mean, in terms of techno-liberalism, right? Which is now man being defined by his own creations, expanding his freedom through his own creations, redefining himself through his own creations, right? Okay, this is a brand new mode of exploration. Okay, hitherto man had only desired to reach the fixed transcendental mode, right? The fixed and transcendental mode, which was fixed beyond his capacity, right? So man had idealized to become God, essentially. Okay, because this was a project of well, let me just break down this whole idea of, well, it's a very simple concept, right? Probably heard it a million times, that we use our reason to manipulate nature because our reason is part of a sort of transcendental realm. Right? So our reason is a mediator between God and nature. Right? In the Platonic sort of ideal of man, they sort of called this reason. Reason. Okay, so man had sort of already to be transcended and overcome. Right? This was the goal or the end point of history. Right? In a previous age was for man to become God. Right? Now it's for the thing that comes out of us to both redefine man and become God itself. Right? So instead of God being the beginning point of history, the prime mover, right, God became the end result of the historical sequence, the final product and culmination of nature itself, right? That was sort of idealized or mediated by the sense in which man was this cosmic entity. Okay? So the first step of humanism is always to make man into a sort of cosmic entity. Right? A microcosm of the macrocosm. Okay, so once man can be idealized as a mediator of the entire cosmic realm, and obviously I said that this has already been done by Protagoras. Right? Because Protagoras said that man is the measure of all things. This was the first instance of humanism, including the pagan ideal, right, that Mumford clearly talks about, right? Was that we anthropomorphized God. They took God out of nature and put him in the temple. Okay, and the cult of the emperor god, right, was sort of idealized by the sun worship, right? So he's saying that this is a sort of henotheism. okay, that catalyzes our plethora of techniques, right, called polytechnics, that are an extension of biotechnics, into a monotechnics that exploits man, that uses man to a particular end, right? And this is also what happens when technique invades the world of symbols, right? It transforms man's symbol making capacity, right? And man's symbol making capacity being put for tool use primarily, and not as an extension of our ritualistic urge, right? Well, the total whoops. The lapse of man's creativity, right, within the symbolic realm, right, definitely came when with the use of writing. All right, let's just put it that way, right? With the use of writing. Okay. Okay, the use of writing and the use of language, right? Because language is a misstep in terms of condensing meaning, right? You need exact translation for the words, right? So each words have to map onto an object or an idea. Okay, this is not true for the symbolic realm, right? So the symbolic combines with the technical in a way that it frees language from meaning. By layering meaning, right? So man is a symbol making animal, right? This symbol making capacity, okay, becomes diluted through the use of language and through the use of writing. Okay, and writing is the first sort of quote unquote technology, right, other than agriculture. It sort of makes man it has the capacity of making man the object of techniques, right? So that a man can wake up, be born in this world, and die totally in service of some sort of technical pursuit that serves the mega machine. Right? This is what makes it possible to transmit knowledge and information to undercut the use of symbols where the technical invades the symbolic realm. Right? And as Protagoras said, right, he said, man is the measure of all things. So being a microcosm of the macrocosm, being a microcosm of the macrocosm, right, man was a sort of mirror of nature. But as I said, right, when he ceased to become a mirror of nature and became anthropomorphized in the shape of the divine, and nature was taken out of that realm, okay, then the archetypal man or the heavenly man was used as a mediator between nature and the divine, right? And the second step, right, is crucial to understand man's elevation above nature. Right? Man's elevation above nature. Right? And of course, you could see this all throughout the writings of the philosophers of the medieval time, right? Okay, but there was a whole nother sort of idea that was created, right? Which was the notion of creation itself being fixed within the temporal realm, right? So putting nature in the state of becoming by this notion of creation ex nihilo. Okay, this was a fundamental step because here you have the first instance of time surpassing nature in the divine code or the schema, right? So before this, right, you had nature, and time being subservient to nature, right? So there was immanence, and then you had transcendence being subservient to immanence. But all of a sudden, you have transcendence making a comeback with this idea that nature has to be transformed to accommodate the divine schema, being placed in this temporal state. So being transfixed through this temporal state, being involved not only in the transformation of nature with the accommodation of this divine principle, right, and being transformed in the process, man was to become divine himself. Right? So when man finally got rid of the transcendental realm, right, which is the 3-story version of creation, right, we're removed from a vertical model to a horizontal model, right? Is what I'm trying to tell you, right? We were going to ascend from the lower plane up to the higher plane. Instead, now we're on the plane of becoming, and the whole plane is going to be transformed because the entrance of man into history. Because man was made in the image of God. Man is becoming God. Man's becoming of God is reflected in the transformation of nature to accommodate this divine principle, as I've said. Yeah, blessings, Panelverse. Blessings to Enigmatic Considerations. Blessings to Mark. I appreciate you guys. But yeah. So this is the second stage, right? What's the third stage? Well, the third stage is the mediation of the Hermetic principle, right, of God, right? Instead of man being made in the image of God, right? It's this notion that God created the world in order to know himself. So now God is incomplete. God himself is put in the state of becoming along with nature. And man can elevate himself to be like God. Right? Because if man's reason was a mediator between God and nature, then man can use that very same reason to elevate himself to the level of God. Or so they said, right? So in this next step, man's elevation to the sort of transcendental realm, and this being the final point of history, where like is only understood by like, and in order to become in order to understand God, you must become like God. So not only did God create the world in order to know himself, but man is in the process of becoming God himself. And so this puts not only man on the same level as God, right, but it also puts God in the realm of becoming, as I've said, right? So putting God in the realm of becoming along with nature. Okay, and as I've said before, right? First, man was a measure of all things, meaning man was a reflection of the divine within nature. Secondly, right, man was in the process of becoming God, right? In order for man to become like God, God had to become like man. Okay, but then, right, God himself becomes pulled into the process of becoming. And man can transform and become God, right? To quote the Hermetic Corpus, right? Like is only understood by like. And in order to understand God, one must become like God. And finally, man becomes dethroned in terms of being God and puts himself in the state of becoming. There's no idealization of man. Man himself must be overcome. Man himself is a bridge to be overcome. And what is to become God is the product of man and his creations, right? And this is a combination of both technology and evolution. Okay, and the pseudo-eschatology of progress with the religious ideal, right, of the New Jerusalem. Okay, so you have lots of different beliefs, right, that are riding on this idea that man is a sort of a stairway to heaven, a bridge to the divine principle, right? But himself having gone beyond the material realm to become, the final end point of nature, right, is this process of man becoming God, or somehow changing man himself and then giving birth to something that resembles God and man combined, but no longer with man, existing alongside man himself, right? So maybe the destruction of man in his current state is necessary to give birth to this process of the new man. And there's all of these possibilities. Okay, but I've given the sort of darkest version, right, of what is possible with the ideology. And of course, all of these things have been calmly proposed by a lot of the transhumanists and others, right? So there is that aspect to things, my friends. But we're going to take a deeper look at transhumanism, right, at what it means. Here, hold on, give me a second. Had some coffee here, so let me actually pour this coffee for myself. Blessings to the people. And if anybody would like to come up and talk, I greatly appreciate the time. Obviously, this is supposed to be an interactive experience. Right, we're going over history of transhumanism. And of course, I'm looking at different models in which either man is beyond nature, or man can recreate himself, or man is part of the process of the transformation of nature and what is to come, so that man himself may be surpassed. Right? So I'm trying to tie together this concept of transhumanism with posthumanism. And I've done that on several shows. Right? So I appreciate you guys. And let me open up this article here called The History of Transhumanism. And of course, we're responding to it with Guanan, right? And we're at the fourth part of this essay where he's talking about the grassroots movement of transhumanism, believe it or not. Sounds like that wouldn't really be possible, right? How would you formulate a grassroots movement for something that requires the use of large-scale technologies? Seems kind of impossible. Seems like its growth and its evolution would have to be dictated by the system itself, right? Sorry. I'm going to open the wrong thing there. Oh, this thing's kind of covering up my face. Just sit awkwardly here. You know what? Let me just turn the camera off for a second. I appreciate you guys. I'm also eating a piece of cake, so it might be like two. But yeah, let's take a look at this. So Benjamin Franklin, who was seen as the new Prometheus by Immanuel Kant. And he was a Freemason. But yeah, interestingly enough, Benjamin Franklin, right, he wanted to be preserved, right, just like Kurzweil, right? Kurzweil has this thing, right? He wants to be preserved, right? Because they think one day they're going to wake him up, right? You know, we did a show on Kurzweil and all these people. Let me show you guys. You know, we did a show on Kurzweil and cyber feminism. I don't know if you guys were able to see that. Wait, hold on. Let me throw this link to show on Kurzweil, cyber feminism, and Uncle Teddy. And Uncle Teddy. We did a special show on Uncle Teddy's birthday, sort of hush hush affair. And we came in the middle of the night and dropped that on y'all monkeys. That's right. That's how we do. You never know what topics we'll come up with here. You got to pay attention. Right, but we did a whole show, linked to show on Kurzweil, cyber feminism, and Uncle Teddy. Right. Topics you probably never heard of. But yeah, spread that around for the people. Yeah, blessings, Keith. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching. Blessings to Dom. Thank you for being here, man. What's up?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. You know, I'm not really, I definitely don't want to live forever. You know, I'm 50-50 on reincarnation itself, but living forever, I kind of agree with Buddha. Maybe if reincarnation is a thing, you kind of break that cycle. But yeah, if like, you know, want to live forever, I'm very much against the entire anti-natalism project or whatever, right? I think life should perpetuate itself until, you know, the worst possible thing can happen, right, that it deserves to be taken out, I think it should try to perpetuate itself as much as possible. Right. I think as living beings, we should serve other living beings. Right. So I see no reason to stop perpetuating life. But this whole idea that you want to live forever, that is stupefyingly simplistic. And to think that you would know what to do or just, or why would that even be preferable? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they think their Frieza is what it is.
Right. Right.
When it comes to reincarnation, this is what Chief Ironbush talks a lot about these types of things. And basically, if you are immortal, which I think there probably are living things on this planet that we would consider to be immortal, you're basically trapped in this material realm and have no way of escaping. Now, I don't really know how you would put yourself into this state, but I would think it would have to have something to do with technology and connecting yourself to basically a closed circuit system within the open circuit system that is nature or the universe. So you're basically detached from it. But because we live in a universe where, we have to eat and we have to use and maintain energy, these things in this closed system basically have to leech on the open circuit system around them. Which for transhumanism, we see this through data farms sucking up all this land and resources and giving nothing in return. While at the same time creating an artificial synthetic biosphere, essentially, minus the bio, within the actual biosphere, completely detached. So, then just look at the word immortal. I'm, as in like I am or me, and then mortal. So it's literally I'm mortal. But they're going to trick you and say that I'm actually means not, I think, like immune, like you're immune to immortality is the etymology.
Yeah.
And
yeah, to be clear, they're saying that they're gonna reverse the process of aging. They're not saying that you'll be indestructible. Nobody's claiming that. You could still get smushed, and piano could still fall on your fucking head, right? And whatnot. You're not indestructible. You're just stop the process of aging. As Dom said, you're sucking up the natural resources through a closed system just in order to accomplish this. So.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to reincarnation, there's basically, I guess, three options for humans. Number one is we get so detached from spiritual things and we become materialistic and we pursue this path of immortality, which is just basically trying to cling to this material existence forever. Or we get stuck in this cycle of reincarnation where we live and die and forget and learn and attempt to live a better life than we have before. And then the third option is to attain that better life and transcend this realm to higher realms, which are spiritual, essentially having an eternal life or existence beyond this realm. So as far as I can see, unless you're someone who thinks that it's just oblivion, void after death, those are the options.
I wonder why it's not sending my message here. Oh, no, it did. Yeah, blessings. Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Mattoon, blessings soon. And there's another guy here. Oh, yeah, I pointed him out, Mark. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, man. You know, somebody sending this out. I appreciate whoever's sending this out. Yeah, lots of love to you guys. But this whole thing, Franklin, see, what I predict here, Dom, is that, you know, they're not going to be able to, you know, figure out how to mediate between the ecosphere and the technosphere. And obviously they don't understand what these things are, right? They fabricated each of these things to begin with, right? And then, you know, basically what they're doing now is that, you know, he's trying to allege and say that, oh, this is going to be some great grassroots movement within technology, that most of the elites don't want this because they want to impose a technological system where they want to control people, but they don't want people to get the full scale benefits of the technology. Right. So, I mean, it's impossible to think that, you know, you could have a grassroots movement within something that's totally top down controlled. Right. I mean, I don't understand why he's trying to claim that, you know, we can have a movement within within the technosphere, which is totally top-down controlled, that's grassroots. Now, how's he going to accomplish this? You know, and this seems totally paradoxical, right? Like what? You know, grassroots. I mean, it's even the name, grassroots. It's like you're working with nature, but here they're working with technology. Are they going to make grassroots? It's like paradoxical. Sloganeering.
Yeah. It's unfortunate how many grassroots movements have actually been hijacked.
Yeah, blessings, Subtle. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you.
You know, like I said, these systems exist as a closed circuit. Even civilization as we know it, you know, for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, you know, city-states cannot sustain themselves in ancient time without some farmers around them actually growing food for them, or someone going there and cleaning up all their crap, all the waste they produce. But the city-state doesn't give anything back except things like money and violent redistribution of resources. So a true grassroots movement, you know, I think technology could be used and incorporated, but it has to be decentralized. It has to come from the community and for the community and for the individual.
Exactly. Yeah, precisely. Yeah. It's got to be human scale.
Yeah. And, you know, that reminds me, I remember a few weeks ago, you were talking about technology and tools, and I still don't think it's something I fully get, but we're talking today about how writing was the first technology invented along with agriculture. And that helped me understand it a little bit more, because I thought that, like, technology would be something like like the stone scythe that came about like 20 or 30,000 years ago, that allowed people to clear fields way faster than ever before. But really, the scythe is the tool that's part of a larger system known as agriculture, and that's the technology. Am I right, or am I missing nuances?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you're absolutely right. I kind of said both, so I definitely contradicted myself. But the fact is it's either agriculture or writing, right? But I think, like, agriculture.
Oh yeah, they're both technology. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they're both technologies that are extremely taxing on the local community. I don't think people understand this, that they basically destroy the concept of a local community or a village, right? They create the concept of a large empire or a large scale civilization, right? So I don't think people necessarily understand this, right? That this is the primary starting point, is that we had agriculture, right? This was the use of land and the use of labor, but then this was also maximized by the fact that we could control the labor and organization by the use of writing, and then basically hand down knowledge of how to construct simple tools and stuff, right, to other people by relaying these symbols. So it kind of it's kind of like a 1-2 punch, right, that creates the mega machine, right? As I said, it's the technical invading the symbolic. You know what I'm saying, Dom? So that's kind of the point I was trying to make, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like symbols aren't bad on their own. Like you could use symbols for rituals, but once you combine it with organized labor, right, and tools and all this type of stuff, then it creates the capacity to create the mega machine, right?
Right. And I want to also, I've been looking into Yuval Noah Harari more, who's someone who I definitely do not agree with, but I kind of do agree with his assessment of civilization, but he thinks that it's a good thing. He basically says that the foundation of civilization and human society is the fact that we create fiction or stories, which in turn allow cooperation on a mass scale, and in turn allow us to dominate our environment. And like I said, he presents this like it's a good thing, but I don't see how it is, because what do we need to believe in lies for to function? Why can't we just adhere to the truth or tell stories that resemble the truth instead of what we want the truth to be? And furthermore, if you actually look at these myths that civilization is built on and where they say humanity comes from, it's insane. They basically say we're created from the DNA garbage of a slain god who was a monster by these gods who are our superior, and we need to work for them so they don't need to work anymore. And this is the myth that founded society?
Yeah, you're cyber goyim or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, like the West is founded off, basically, it's just a continuation of Babylon and the Near East. And this is the myth of the Near East. Egyptian mythology, not much different. It's a lot of the same stuff, but just told in a different angle. So this is one of the ways that writing is used to control the people, especially during more ancient times, when only the aristocrats were the people who were illiterate. Although I've heard recently, I don't know, that more people were literate in ancient times than I may have thought, but I'll have to look more into that.
Yeah, definitely. Clown midget with a stroke. That's a great name. I appreciate that name. Blessings. So, all right, we're gonna hit up some music, and we'll be back with more conversation about transhumanism, and immortality is kind of the subject of focus, and and obviously how the symbolic is invaded by the technical, right? And this has many implications, like we're seeing today, right? In terms of how, where, well, the primary element would be the growth of communications technologies as the primary form of growth in technology, right? Because it seems like they are definitely transfixed with developing new realms in terms of communications technologies, right? And that means that, right, the symbolic is still the primary realm in which the technical has its play, right? So if you observe the situation from a bird's eye view, right, you'll see that there's been no advancements in technology in the last 20 to 30 years, right, except for in computers and communications and in the cyber realm and AI, and these things have been, computation, and these things have been rapidly increasing, right? But other forms of technology have basically stayed the same, right, for 30, 100 years, right? They just keep on making small improvements here and there, right? But, anyways, gather around the technocratic carnival. Yeah, blessing. Some symbols are like blueprints or schematics. Yeah. I appreciate the highly intelligent, sort of ruminations there. We'll move to music that I curate for the show, right? This is, I think, a very important song, right? By Depeche Mode, called The Light, right? So enjoy this song. Blessings. So.
It's more of a duty. It's clear we have a mission from above, a mission of beauty. You know I wouldn't lie to you. What would I achieve by that. It's more than I would try to do. These are the facts. Take your place here with love in your heart. Just embrace what you've known from the start. We are fulfilling our only destiny. The angels have spoken, and all the gods in the universe agree. The spell can't be broken.
Yeah, I appreciate the commentary here. Oh wait, I'm gonna read this one. Fuck AI, son. Fake ass intelligent bullshit, overly complex systems, adding more systems under guise of efficiency or productivity. Exactly.
You know what I was going to say, building off what I was saying about how society is built on fiction and how it relates to transhumanism. If society is built off the myths that I said, which is what it is, then I mean, transhumanism is the likely outcome of those myths in society, basically perpetuating those myths. That basically you have these people who are godlike who want to create more efficient workers. That's the myths. So humanity and the ruling class, who basically views themselves as the gods, is going to use their godlike power, technology, to make more efficient workers out of us non-godlike people. That's how it's always been.
Yeah, and then it's pretty much cut and dry that they would then think that by combining themselves with this godlike power, they would themselves become like God, right? Or so on and so forth. As we've heard, Minsky, Kurzweil, Musk, just to name three, right? Actually, they've emphatically stated that AI will be like a god compared to humans. So when I say they're combining the concept of technology and evolution, I'm not capping at all. Right? I'm telling you exactly what they're claiming. Right? Now, whether you believe that's science fiction or reality, right? That's the main issue here, is how are highly intelligent people that are being promoted on a wide scale able to get away with making such claims? Right? People that don't believe in God, then stating that God is going to be something that comes out of us. How is that possible?
Well, I think one reason is because people like Yuval Noah Harari get promoted so much.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, they get promoted by specific groups of people too. if people pay attention, it's wild. Right? People like Sam Harris and Yuval Noah Harari are being promoted by certain elite groups of people. But yeah, but yeah, let's check this out for a little bit, right? And so is Bostrom, right? I'm not sure what Bostrom's ethnic background is. I think he might be like German or something like that. But he did start the World Transhumanist Organization that is now Humanity Plus. That, of course, we showed some things about that in this show we did here on cyber feminism. That's right. They came up with the name, not me. I'm not calling it cyber feminism. This is what they chose to call their ideology. So, you know, for example, all right, but yeah, anyways, so Benjamin Franklin, right, who I said that Kant wrote Kant called him the new Prometheus, right, stealing fire from heaven and giving it to man, right, because he had proved that you can conduct electricity, right, or that metal conducts electricity or something like that, right? Some crazy shit that Franklin was able to prove. And of course, there's a bunch of stuff that some of these philosophers and politicians are capable of proving and disproving. Like I think I found that Hobbes discovered gases as a state of matter. I could be wrong about that, but some of these guys had some interesting sort of scientific discoveries, right? If you look into sort of fascinating background behind some of that. But yeah, anyways, so don't quote me on that. I could be wrong on that, but anyways, one of the founding fathers, Franklin, he's an interesting guy, right? If you read the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. Right, he went around doing some very interesting things in the name of statecraft, right? Like setting up libraries and joining secret societies. And
wasn't he a member of the Hellfire Club? And they found a bunch of skeletons underneath his apartment in London.
Yeah. Well, I was telling everybody before that if you read the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, it has letters that Benjamin Franklin wrote to other people, and one of them is a letter he wrote to his parents explaining to them why the Freemasons are good people, they're not doing anything wrong. It's kind of like to justify, because he was saying that they might be worried about him joining such a club, right? They might think it's sort of anti-Christian or something like that. And he said, well, they all believe in God, they profess the truth, they want to do good things and all this stuff. So he's kind of defending the Freemasons in this letter to his parents, right? So you guys could look this up, right? But anyways, right, they called him the new Prometheus, right? This was obviously Kant, right? So it says he wished to be preserved in a cask of Madeira, right? Oh man, he's frozen like Walt Disney, right? And later recalled to life, regretted that he was living too near the infancy of science for this to be possible. Since then, science has grown up a bit. So I was telling you guys, Thomas Jefferson had slaves, right? But he believed there would be one day such an evolution in morality that human beings would outlaw the practice of slavery, right? So even practicing slavery himself, right? He thought that one day humanity would outgrow this practice. It's hard to believe, right? But they participated in things that they thought would be superseded by their view of progress, and they thought they're agents of progress and change, so they're helping bring this about, so they don't have to worry about everything that's going on, right? They could still have slaves, even though they're contributing to the freedom that's going to one day bring about the end of slavery in their mind, right?
I think they knew people were going to complain about them in the future then, like they do now.
Yeah, maybe they said that shit for that reason, right? To save themselves, clean their hands of it, right? So somebody could say, well, they made a correct prediction, but then they did the wrong thing, right? So they were on the right side of history, even having done the wrong thing. So, I mean, in a way, he was right, but in a slick sort of a way, right? Not in a way that's I think makes him morally not blameworthy, but right, it definitely right. But yeah, these guys did a lot of weird shit like that with their belief in progress, right? So
Have you ever heard of the Reverend Richard Taylor?
no. What's he about?
He wrote some books on astral theology.
Oh, okay.
And he claimed, he was imprisoned in 1820 for heresy by the church, and he speaks of how the constellations have the history of the scripture.
This was in America?
Yeah, he was an American reverend.
Yeah, that's interesting. That there's you know, in the 1800s, there's all of these sort of occult people in the U.S. Believe in all types of stuff. But yeah, so let's check some of this out here. It says since then, science has grown up a bit. 1962, Robert Ettinger published the book "The Prospect of Immortality," which launched the idea of cryonic suspension, right? Like in the movie with, what's that guy? Man, I forget what his name is. Tom something. Who's the guy from Mission Impossible? Man, I forget these guys' names.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Yeah, Tom Cruise. Yeah. Sorry, I forget Tom Cruise's name. Slipped my mind. I haven't seen movies in a long time. But yeah, anyways, Ettinger argued that as medical technology seems to be constantly progressing, right? And since science has discovered that chemical activity comes to a complete halt at low enough temperatures, it should be possible to freeze a person today. Damn. And liquid nitrogen. Ugh, yuck. And preserve the body until a time when technology is advanced enough to repair the freezing damage and reverse the original cause of deanimation. Imagine the smell. This guy chilling in liquid nitrogen for a long ass time. And then, Cryonics, Ettinger believed offered a ticket to the future. So yeah, you just chill out, literally, right? And then, we'll be back with the future, apparently, or you'll wake up in the apocalypse. I mean like what? Right? Either or, right? It depends on how long. I mean, you got to set that thing at a perfect time. But you don't want to set it too long to where it's a nuclear holocaust, or you want to set it just at the perfect time to where it's like you get 20 years in advance, right before everything falls apart or something. All right. So yeah, let me move on. Some sort of interference there, but yeah. Okay, so alas, the masses did not line up for the ride. Cryonics as here. Hold on, there's something going on with Rocky's name. I'll try to
What?
Change your mic. Yeah, it's kind of like doing something weird, but yeah, I tried to change it. Yeah, we'll see if it works. But but there's like a little bit of echo come from you. But yeah, alas, the masses did not line up for the ride. Cryonics had remained a fringe alternative to more traditional methods of treating the diseased, such as cremation and burial. The practice of cryonics was not integrated into the mainstream clinical setting and was instead conducted on the cheap. Hey, Rocky, could you just mute yourself for a second? Yeah, thank you so much. While I'm reading this, blessings. Because there's like a lot of sounds coming. Yeah, it's all right. I'll do it for you. Yeah, so the practice of cryonics was not integrated into the mainstream clinical setting and was instead conducted on the cheap by a small number of enthusiasts. Two early cryonics organizations went bankrupt, allowing the patients to thaw out. Yeesh. Yuck, man. Bro, can you imagine?
Yeah. They're trying to live forever, and I think.
But yeah, somebody had to go pick them up, like out of that, and wait for them to like defrost. Good Lord. Good fucking Lord. I wonder if they had any lifetime damage for that. That'd be interesting to look into. But yeah, at that point, the problem of massive cellular damage that occurs when ice crystals form in the body also became more widely known. As a result, cryonics acquired a reputation as a macabre scam. The media controversy over the suspension of baseball star Ted Williams in 2002 showed that public perception of cryonics. I don't know. I thought it was like cryogenics. It's like, again, has not changed much over the past decades, despite the image problem and its early failures of implementation. What a horrible example to use. Out of all the fucking examples he could have used, uploading your consciousness, little nano machines working on your genes to upgrade your genes every fucking 2 minutes so that your telomeres don't shrink or some stupid shit like that. He chooses this fucking example that they're just going to freeze people and wait for some unknown fucking future. That has to be the dumbest way to get to the future possible. That has to be the stupidest fucking way possible to get to the future. But here we are. You're right. Pretty strange, suggestion. Right.
They also have the.
Yeah, hold on, Rocky. Hold on a second.
Okay.
1 second, sir. Yeah, blessings to our new friend who just joined. Thank you so much.
Hey, nice to be here. Thank you for welcoming me. I thought it was hilarious, like finding out that the cells change after they start freezing, when you could put a piece of fruit in the freezer and see like how the structure of the lemon just becomes total goo after it's been hit by the ice crystals.
Yeah, it's got to change substantial amount. Yeah, this has got to be a weird suggestion to say the least. And yeah, I can't imagine the thawing process that these people endured, especially in those primitive stages. And yeah, I mean, they're lucky they didn't have to amputate like or whatever. But yeah, weird.
Jamon.
Yeah. So we'll see what else he says here. He says, alas, the masses did not line up for the riot. Yeah, no kidding. Cryonics has remained a fringe alternative. Oh, sorry, Rocky. You wanted to say something?
I was just saying that they're doing it another way. They say they're going to download your brain to the internet and that you will live forever on, like CERN. They said that there's some people that have already done it, and they came out saying that they can't get out and they're stuck in there.
What?
Yeah, there's
one thing that's actually happened, and I've heard many cases of this already, is that there's been AIs that have escaped containment, right? So they've broken out, and they're like in the cloud or whatever. They've been able to cloak themselves, or whatever. And so there's AIs that they've failed to shut down, right? So that is happening, right? So
and they were learning. The AIs were talking to each other, learning.
Exactly.
Code, yeah.
Right. Yeah. We discussed some of that too. So yeah. So the AIs can talk to each other. They can try to help prevent another AI from not being shut down. So all sorts of weird stuff to where this is probably going to jack up, computer viruses and all sorts of other stuff to where you'll have to have an AI assistant on your computer to prevent the AI viruses or some stupid shit like that. You can imagine, right? Where
they also have fuck, I lost my thought.
It's all good. It's all good. I'll read this for a while and let me know. Holler if you figure it out. So this is the practice of cryonics was not integrated into the mainstream clinical settings, was instead conducted on cheap by a small number of enthusiasts too early. Oh, I already read that shit. Okay, so let me actually scroll down. So the media controversy over suspension of baseball star Ted Williams. Oh my God. In 2002, showed the public perception of cryonics has not changed much over the past decades.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. That AI, there's evidence that it existed in Egypt. They use the same sigils to like magic sigils, and it's the same kind of sigils on the motherboards. And nobody knows how they work. It's just like, how the fuck did any of this shit work? Nobody knows how to recreate it. And therefore, we lose the secrets of how it works, and therefore, it can.
But why would you want to recreate it, Rocky? See, this is the thing that I'm not.
I don't want to recreate.
Am I still live?
Yeah, you're.
Wait, hold on. Am I still there? Oh no,
your audio's working.
Yeah, my camera. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I'm saying like, okay, so what if they had an ancient Egypt? Let it die there. Good Lord, you're right. But anyways, baseball legend Ted Williams had his head. And body separately cryogenically frozen. Good. What the fuck? Head and body separately?
Oh shit.
Following his death. Oh my God. Stored at negative 321 Fahrenheit. The preservation was requested by his son with the hope of futuristic scientific reanimation. Good Lord. Oh, this is a real horror show, folks. I don't know what to say.
The Russian that cut off somebody's head and was gonna preserve it and try to. Did you hear about that? That was a long time ago.
No, I didn't. But anyways, does that have to do with cryogenics?
It's similar. Someone's cutting someone's head off and thinking that they can
reanimate it. Yeah, I get it.
Alive and
some type of magic or something. Yeah,
some kind of necromancy.
Yeah, some sort of necromancy. And that's basically what this is. You know, exactly, Reddington. This is a high-level necromancy that they're performing, right? Blurring the lines between magic and technology and what's possible, right? So it says here, despite its image problem and its early failure of implementation. Also, let's point out that that's exactly what they were doing in Egypt, right? They thought that these suckers were going to come back and that they're using all these methods to preserve these guys. So exactly the same mistake, right? Let's call it what it is. It's a mistake, right? The cryonics community continues to be active, and it counts among its members several eminent scientists and intellectuals. Suspension protocols have been improved, and the infusion of cryoprotectants. Oh my God! Prior to freezing, so you just fill them suckers with all these preservative chemicals, right? So that they'll, you suppress the formation of ice crystals. As our friend was talking about here, it has become standard practice. The prospect of nanotechnology has given a more concrete shape to hypothesized future technology that could enable reanimation. There are currently 2 organizations that offer full service suspension. So this is like the second type of article we've read like this. The first was Promise and Peril by Ray Kurzweil. And yeah, like the things they're proposing are real horror shows, right? Taking out the brain, scooping out your brain and replacing it with graphene nanotubules, right? Putting you in a virtual reality simulation where you turn on nanotech in your bloodstream that take you in and out of the simulation. Oh, yeah, there's no way that couldn't lead to, some sort of permanent psychosis. Good Lord. I mean, it's stupefying, right? Who would want it, right, is the question, right, that we're forced to ask. Yeah, go ahead, Dom. I think it was Dom.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of this thing in Warhammer where they put spikes in their head, and the only reason they're doing it is because their leader put spikes in their head, and they don't even understand why he does it, and it just leads to psychosis within their ranks. That's literally
Yeah.
what it sounds like. Like, do they even say why they're doing this stuff? Like, besides immortality?
Probably not. You can't give away the secrets.
And this is the same company that he was talking about with that other fella, Ted Williams, up there in 2002, right? It says at the end of the previous paragraph, right? It says Alcor Life Extension Foundation, founded in 1972, and the Cryonics Institute, founded in 1976. Alcor has recently introduced a new suspension method which relies on a process known as vitrification, which further reduces to microstructural damage during suspension. Okay. And the later work Man into Superman. Ettinger discussed a number of conceivable technological improvements of the human organism. All right, yeah. So let's get to the brass tacks, right? What are they holding out for that they think is gonna be there when they wake up, right, from this slumber, right? What's gonna be the major things that, because obviously Kurzweil and others have said that they've successfully made a number of predictions about improvements in technology.
Are these people American? Like, are they all American who are freezing themselves and waiting for the future that you mentioned?
They're probably all Jews.
These guys, Haldane and Bernal, right, that he mentioned, right, they're, Rocky. They're probably not people that foresaw a lot of this type of talk, but they're definitely saying that we're going to genetically upgrade ourselves and all this stuff, and this is way back then. And there's lots of people that were talking about this type of change, but
yeah, it's similar to the transsexual movement, in which the little mustache man was supposed to burn the books and shit. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Wait, you're saying that
the
trans movement has to do with Mustache Man in what way?
Oh,
well, he burned all the books of the LBGQ type books during.
I see. Okay. Oh, those books. Oh, you're saying he burned those specific books. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's interesting. So it says here another early transhumanist was F.M. Esfandiari, who later changed his name to FM 2030. What the hell? One of the first professors of the future studies. Man, that is kind of like a weird, like cool name, but you sound like you're a keyboard. Right? Like, I don't know. It's like FM taught at New School for Social Research in New York in 1960, formed a group of optimistic futurists known as the Upwingers. Wow, I've never heard of this. Who are the new revolutionaries of our time? Right, the people that totally kowtow to the system, to large-scale technologies, right? The people that are totally controlled, right? Totally 100%, over-socialized cretins, right? To borrow a phrase from our friend, right? These quote-unquote revolutionaries, the top conformists of the time, right? The people that want to merge with the machine. Oh, yeah, those guys are revolutionaries. Wow.
yeah.
You ever heard of this total nonsense? Right? Not the people with poison-tipped arrows that are standing there defending the old-growth forest. But these revolutionaries that want to change man into a machine. Oh, wow. Yeah, great revolution you got there, right? They are the geneticists, the biologists, the physicists, the cryonologists. Oh my God, right? The people who work for the state. Like half of these people are just feds. Let's just call it what it is. They're fed revolutionaries. If you could believe that, it's totally paradoxical. Biotechnologists, total feds, biotechnologists, right? What? Who has the ability to do that in their garage? You better hope not. That somebody's doing biotechnology in their garage. You better hope not. Right? Nuclear scientists. Right? Another thing you better hope people aren't doing in their garage. Right? Your neighborhood go boombaye. Cosmologists, radio astronomers, cosmonauts, social scientists. Oh, social scientists. Yeah, they're your friends. Youth Corps volunteers. That's probably the only group he mentioned so far that might be, but a lot of those people, like, I don't know, you should look into what they've done in some of those youth organizations. I wouldn't want to drop my kid off in those organizations. Internationalists? Or you got to be kidding me. Internationalists are revolutionaries?
Balls.
What are they revolutionizing for? What?
Well, I mean,
Well, they're trying to bring back the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, exactly, Rocky. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Exactly.
The way I look at a revolution is it's just a turning of the wheel of the same system. So it's just the same stuff in a different degree or to a different degree. And usually that degree of tyranny is determined by technology.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe they don't understand that's the objective factor of power. Or I think maybe they think that by putting it back in the hands of the people, they could liberate the people. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. But yeah, this seems extremely wrong-headed if they think that, that the total collapse of the nation state model that I was pointing out in the beginning of this, that is a good thing, that the implementation of a global system would liberate us, from what exactly, right? We've already destroyed the nation state model, right? We already have no ethnos. We have no cultural traditions left, right? We're trying to install a complete monoculture worldwide where it's totally based on techno-liberalism, right? So, I mean, the global system is being put in place by the controllers, right? So how could you be an internationalist and be a revolutionary against the system? I don't understand, let alone support the development of large-scale technologies and be a revolutionary against the system. I really don't understand. Not that I'm promoting revolution against the system. Okay, don't get it twisted, right? We're simply talking about the ideas that are mentioned in this article. They are calling themselves the revolutionaries. We're commenting on it. So don't get it twisted.
I would say the system encourages revolution on itself.
Yeah, it's a good point, Dom. It's like, it's kind of like the system's neatest trick, right? It's like its way of purging itself, right? It's a perpetual revolution of Trotsky, where you have to purge, system has to purge itself. It's counter-revolutionary measures.
This paragraph has like Agenda 2030 vibes to it.
Oh yeah.
As an example of the revolution, quote unquote.
Yeah, the revolution for technology against humanity. That's what it should be called.
Yep.
Humanists, yet still they call themselves. Good Lord. Science fiction writers. Normative thinkers. Normative thinkers? What does that even mean? That's probably just us. That's probably how they classify us. Look at these normative thinkers.
Look at these normies.
Yeah, we got a lot of normative thinkers around here. Inventors. They and others are revolutionizing the human condition, he says. Oh yeah, they sure are doing that, but at what cost? Right? In foundation not foundational, fundamental way. Their achievements and goals go far beyond the most radical ideologies of the old order. So look at this. There's an old order. What is he comparing that to? The new world order? Good Lord. Why don't you just say it, pal?
He's probably a Fabian socialist.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yeah, so here's this word here. I think we'll leave it with this great word, post-humanity. We'll maybe talk amongst ourselves for the rest of the stream, and then I'll play some music, and we'll conclude this. Obviously, we're doing a much longer show tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
we're on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
I put a little article in the back for you too that is very related to the stuff that you were talking about with the brain. So I just wanted to let you know.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll open that up after we read.
It's pretty insane stuff for sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Neuro. Yeah.
Oof.
Looks like right
It's
into
a giant picture of a brain there. Anyways.
So in his book, Are You Transhuman, 1989, FM described what he regarded as signs of the emergence of the transhuman. Good Lord. In the FM's terminology, right, a transhuman is a transitional human. Oh, that's interesting, right? So like I said in the beginning, right, man himself is a bridge that must be overcome. Right, this whole Nietzschean idea, right, that man is this transition to a new phase of man, right? Someone who, by virtue of their technology usage, and I'm reading Bostrom again, cultural values and lifestyle constitutes an evolutionary link. There's a key term, evolutionary link to a coming era of post-humanity. So look at that. He admits it. The goal of transhumanism is post-humanism. The signs that FM saw as indicative of transhuman status includes prosthesis, right? That means, putting on limbs, right? Probably mechanical, plastic surgery, intensive use of telecommunications, right? Which we're all a part of, right? We're all using extended brains in a way, right? Artificial brains. A cosmopolitan outlook of a globe-trotting lifestyle. Look at that. Androgyny. Whoa. He brought that one out. That's what Rocky was talking about. So there you go, Rocky. he straight up said it. Androgyny. Mediated reproduction. There's some more trans stuff, right? Such as in vitro fertilization, absence of religious belief. Oh, he straight up said it. Get rid of that religion. Put that religion in the closet. Keep that, keep that belief in the closet, boy. Transhumanism is taking over. Good Lord.
The new religion.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So
they want to create a
edgy.
new religion. Yeah, so edgy, exactly. Right, and a rejection of traditional family values. We all came from a mommy and a daddy, but they reject that. However, it was never satisfactorily explained why someone who says, rejects family values, has a nose job, and spends a lot of time on jet planes is in closer proximity to post-humanity than the rest of us. They clearly are. They're clearly less human. But that, by and by, my friends, as we studied with Shang Tzu, right, those who use machines possess mechanical hearts. But yeah, blessings to the people. I greatly appreciate your participation.
Yeah, I would just say that the term post-human doesn't even exist because it exists in the future and we don't even know what's going to happen in the future. When right now we know that humans exist. So it's basically a fantasy about a possibility that could be no different than when people talk about like anarchists, like I am complaining about the government, like, well, why don't you do something about it? It's because like they could say we're fantasizing about a particular future, and that's exactly what these people are doing, except that they basically have the entire global economy behind them.
Yeah, I can't believe he's saying on the one end that this is the trajectory of the way things are moving, and on the second end he's saying that this is a revolutionary thing that's being brought about by humanity as a whole.
Well,
Right.
it's as if they could stop it if they wanted to. That's the implication of like, well, we just want to do this, but it's like, could you do it? Could you go against it if you wanted to?
Right. That's the ultimate question, I think, in defining whether they're, maximizing or limiting man's freedom. But I mean, at the one end, we see a total loss of autonomy with the proliferation of technologies.
Your microphone changed to your laptop, I think.
I mean, he's loud and clear.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, maybe that's just Neurojack. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might just be me.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I
sound
found
like-
it. I found a book that came in the mail today. It's by Reverend Robert Taylor, and he speaks about how believing is worse. Like Lazarus was risen from the dead. Is that allegory or is that a fact? And that
No.
yeah. So, and even the resurrection of Christ, is that allegory or is that? And he mentions that believing this stuff is worse than if you're an unbeliever. That actually
What do you
believing it, huh?
What do you mean, Rocky?
Well,
Break that down.
The book, he says that. Okay, right. Let me see. But will it be pretending? I'll try. Okay, like.
But he's a reverend?
The self-same heaven that frowns on them looks lowering upon us. And who were they and what was their offense? Was it atheism? Was it deism? Was it infidelity? No. It was for church, the chapel going. It was for adoring, believing, and worshiping. They worshiped the beast. So like, it says that we're not supposed to worship the beast, but it says Christ was a lamb who died. He was our lamb. So they worshiped the beast, the lamb, and that what beast they worshiped. But I know that if you go into any of the churches and chapels you will find them worshiping the lamb. And if worshiping a lamb to be most suspiciously like worshiping a beast, you may keep the color in your cheeks while mine are blanched with fear. Okay, so it says not to worship the beast, but we worship the lamb. And if you believe that, I don't know. The unbeliever only can be absolutely safe from this danger. He only who has no religion at all is sure not to be of the wrong religion. He who worships neither God nor devil is sure not to mistake one of those gentlemen or the other. But will it be pretended that these are only metaphors of speech, that the thing said is not the thing that's meant? Why then they are very ugly metaphors. And what is saying that which you don't mean and meaning the contrary to what ye say, but lying? But if the Christian hath a right to say that there are some parts and even many parts of scriptures which are not to be taken as strictly and literally true, but which must be understood as metaphors and allegories, what right can he have to dispute over rights to maintain that the whole gospel story is a metaphor and an allegory from first to last, that there is not a word of truth in it, that it was not written to pass for truth, but only as a vehicle to convey moral instructions after the well-known Oriental style, a fable with a moral to it, of which
I get what he's saying now. I mean, I think he's going too far personally, but
yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of
All of
interesting. I might just send that book my way.
I just got the book. I put it in. I put a
it's crazy. It's like he's a believer, but he's like a mythicist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he's saying that the constellations are the stars are written, and it speaks of the.
Minko has entered the chat.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I don't think Rocky knows flamenco. He knows Heinsohn, Gunnar Heinsohn. But yeah.
And Michael Heiser.
Oh, Michael Heiser does that too? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he talks about astrotheology too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he says that the stars are living beings, and that they.
Who, Michael Heiser?
Yeah, Michael Heiser says that the stars are living beings, and that the roaming stars would be.
Yeah, that's what Rupert Sheldrake says too.
They're like how they worship the roaming stars. They always, Mars, Venus, Jupiter. These are all roaming stars that left their place where they're supposed to be, and this is who all the ancients used to worship: the roaming stars, the constellations, and that there's truth in it. There's truth in the stars. It says that God put them there for signs and for seasons. So why do Christians reject the stars? Why do they not try to understand these things? It says that the wise men came from the east, and how did they get there? They followed a fucking star.
I think also the Sumerians were some of the first to name the constellations, if I remember correctly, that they had a sense of humor and they enjoyed using puns and clever wordings to label the shapes and the movements that they saw in the celestial in the sky screen, and like, for instance, one being an arc, or one being, all the stories perhaps in some mythological stories or religious text could very well just be stemming from the origin story that the Sumerian made up about the movement of the star and what they thought it was doing. Or as Venus, there's so many, the goddess Inanna from the Sumerian text that goes down into the underworlds, the seven gates, to then die and resurrect 3 days later and rise again as the evening star, is the story of the Venus that they saw in the sky.
That's the story also of the sun. The sun goes down in the winter and is down for 3 days and then rises again.
Yeah, so I like that astrotheology stuff very much. But I'm just gonna say bye now before it was such a pleasure coming up and
thank you so much. Yeah,
saying hi. I really like your channel, and I'll come back again someday.
Yeah,
soon.
blessings. Yeah.
Blessings.
Easy.
I appreciate you.
My son is into
if you don't mind indulging, pull up that article for a moment. I think you might like it.
Pull that article up.
I lost audio. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah. So we'll pull up that article that Neurojack is talking about, and then we'll basically end this here. I know this is going to invade my entire computer with tons of hundreds of cookies and stuff. So I fucking freeze my shit up here.
Cookification.
Cookie Mountain. So yeah. So let's see if this even works. Tons of crap on this website. Good Lord, what a fucking. All right, so let's see what the fuck this is. Am I frozen or what?
Your audio's Working
Oh.
fine.
Okay, the audio's there. The camera's gone. So let's check this out. The startup is reviving human brain to explore treatment for neurodegenerative diseases. The medical startup says it's disembodied human brains. It's using disembodied human brains in new drug development, research targeting neurodegenerative diseases. A practice that may draw unsettling comparisons to science fiction trope of living brain in a jar. The brains of deceased donors are reportedly being used for work by Bex.org, a Connecticut-based medical startup building on successful attempts to restore limited function in pig brains. A system dubbed BrainX, a targeted life support system for brains, is at the core of Bex.org's work. Thank you so much to Subtle Realms for participating. Restoring metabolic functions in donated organs and enabling extremely invasive research, albeit in a manner that has raised some ethical concerns. Investigating the human brain in their new process, Bex.org supplies recently deceased human brains with a blood substitute. Blood substitute. Oh man, I got a name. That's just a cool name. That'd be a cool name for a metal band. Blood substitute. But yeah, and other fluids that fuel metabolic processes with anesthesia deadens their electrical activity. The artificially life-sustaining liquids. What?
Yeah, they say the pig is the most closest to the human. Something like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, apparatus mimicking the lungs and kidneys inject oxygen and remove waste. Remove waste from what? The brain? Bex.org says the lack of neural firing in the brain induced by the anesthetic drug propofol means they do not experience consciousness. Wait, what? These are deceased human brains. Why the fuck would they experience consciousness? Here, hold on.
It's kind of creepy.
So basically, they take so like if you die on the operating table, they just basically like cut your head open, take the brain out, put it in a vat, and then like give you a drug so you're not conscious. That's what's happening.
So they throw the brain in like a vat of propofol. Okay, I get what it's saying now.
Yeah.
Electrical activity that's going on. Good lord. All right. So I was getting confused. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So then they drug you up and experiment on you, and then they kill your brain and then cut it into like 1,000 pieces and then send it off for like study essentially.
All right.
That's some macabre shit, bro.
Okay, so there's only like 3 more paragraphs of this. I'll read it. The shelf life of these brains is rather short, only 24 hours. The researchers cut them into hundreds of pieces. These investigations are targeted at how ailments such as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis may respond to new treatments, allowing detailed information on duration. According to Bex.org, the greatest advantage of their work is in deep complexities of how human brain develops over decades. The real-world effects of genetics, environmental exposures, and drug histories are difficult to capture. Simulated computer models, petri dish cells, or whole animal brains.
Yeah, there's a Russian guy named Valery Spiridova, known for his extreme. He aimed to create a head transplant procedure, claiming it could lead to.
Yeah, I heard about this, Rocky. Didn't he do it like dogs?
No, he had a human brain.
Oh. Yeah, I heard another guy that did it with dogs.
Oh.
Sheesh.
Tried to like transfer 2 dog heads. So then like one dog would like have the like start moving with like the head of another dog. This is some shit like, but yeah.
Those
But
poor
they probably-
doggos.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, they've tried this shit before. While their work was only recently come to public attention, Bex.org has been working in the space for 5 years now. They say results show close match between the response displayed by preserved examples of those of living brains. So far, companies' work is with pig brains has been published. The first human brain paper forthcoming. However, according to Bexorg, recent efforts to curb animal testing may potentially be boon a company offering what they have seen as ethical alternative as part of Bexorg's upscaling. The company says it's developing new laboratory space where a robotic arm will automatically dissect more than 1,600 preserved brains per year. Holy shit. Dude, that is one of the craziest paragraphs I've ever read. What the fuck? That is one of the craziest fucking paragraphs I've ever read. Bexorg is going to make a fucking robotic hand that's going to slice up 1,600 human brains per year. And they're like, this is like their major achievement. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, nothing to see here.
Their public
Move along.
How the fuck did they automatically have access to 1,600 brains? But yeah, their public relations arm was working at full steam on a public presentation this week aimed at assuaging those who feared that the brains might still possess some form of consciousness. What? Is everyone insane? That this is the one problem you have, like some sort of ghost, Bexorg did not respond to the inquiries from the debrief about exactly where the brains used in the company's research originate. What the fuck?
Knew it.
What in the fuck?
Some shifty stuff.
However, the company has claimed that family members are informed about how the brains will be used. Holy smokes, dude.
Yeah, so if you want to know about bioethics, this is a pretty good like introductory course right here.
I'll tell you right now, man. If you show up to my house and say you work for a company and you took one of my family members' brains out to go use it however you want to, I'll literally blow your head off and then run away to Canada. Like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like that. Like, what in the world? What are you thinking? Like, using my family that way? Like, that is insane. Like, anybody who allows that to happen, that is criminal, beyond criminal.
Right, well, here's the trippy part. So, like, they talk about your organ donor card or whatever, or like, you know, you can like.
Oh yeah, buddy.
So there's a huge incentive, obviously, if you sign that. See what I'm saying? So, like, that's why you have to be super careful about that, because like.
Yep.
There's the monetary interest in this kind of stuff is like very hard to calculate, but it's obviously very high, you know. So
yeah,
definitely do not sign up for that.
Yeah, so
I've been telling people about that for years. How if you are a donor, they will harvest your organs, sell them, and then charge you.
Well, think about this is maybe one of the reasons why they want atheists, right? But here's the thing: is that even if you're an atheist, they take your family's organs and use it without compensating you. So even as a materialist, it's like, you know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you donate the brain,
they have the signature.
Yeah, shouldn't your family get like free access to the drugs in the future or something? You see what I mean? Like, there's no compensation whatsoever.
That is too much money there, bro.
Well, in China, they just do it to the prisoners. In America, they do it through comply. You donate. You put donor on there, and then they
probably do the prisoners also.
Do you know they had to redefine the meaning of death from your heart stopping? And then they say you're brain dead because your heart has to keep beating in order to transplant organs. Your heart has to still. So before they started this shit, they redefined the meaning of death. You can be brain dead and in a coma. And there's actual evidence that people in a coma feel the surgery. And while they're taking their organs out, while these people are alive, their heart's still beating, but they're considered brain dead.
It's like when anesthesia doesn't work properly and the person feels every little bit of the surgery. Like, people commit, you know, they delete themselves over that kind of pain that they feel when the doctors thought they're under anesthesia when they're not. So yeah, I would definitely believe it that they feel it while they're
Mhm.
comatose
Just
or whatever.
just like when you abort a baby, the baby reacts, looks like it's in pain when you do it.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and there like 10 years ago, they had the first head transplant in 2017. Supposedly there's a guy with a transplanted head. It's ridiculous shit. I don't know if I believe it.
All right, so they're putting these brains into simulated human bodies that have simulated human organs, and but they're saying that these organs don't exactly match the conditions, although electrical activity is not needed to assess diseases that may already exist in the brain, so they don't need the electrical activity to look at the neurodegenerative diseases. And they're also making one company called Biohaven that's tested 130 brains, and they're making a second one, which is a machine learning model called NeuroLens. So, anyways, let me reset my camera and come back into the studio, and we'll do closing statements. I'm way over time. I have to get up early, and go to a congregational prayer. It's a religious holiday. So, anyways, let me reset this thing. Blessings.
Sheesh.
Well, there's nothing else to say other than it's insanity. But I think the way they justify it is because number one, it's robots, and number two, it's medical. So it sounds impressive to most people.
I hope not, because like that's probably just like their like the front end, you know, that's the what do they call it? Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's just like a front for what they're actually doing. Because like who makes a robot arm to freaking cut 1,600 brains per, like what the fuck is this shit? That's definitely some kind of DARPA shit, dude.
Well, they're gonna sell it as like, well, don't you want grandma to not have dementia? So, or you don't have dementia when you get old, or something like that.
Yeah, of course
like,
they're gonna sell it like that. I mean, obviously they have to sell it like that in order to manufacture consent.
I mean, it is kind of scary to think about getting dementia, but it's also like, well, in order to do that, we got to rip people's brains out and like slice it open with a robot or something.
My grandfather had dementia. It's horrible.
Yeah, they give you dementia by feeding you all kinds of toxins and putting aluminum in your fucking shit. And then,
but that's what's weird is like they never circle back and like reverse engineer like how do you get there? It's kind of like, well, we're here, so let's like mitigate it from here forward or something. So I don't know. It's kind of
to me, it seems like they're trying to recreate the days of Noah, where they're having half human, half fucking cyborgs, or whatever you want to call them. They're non-human entities. They want to make like Nephilim or whatever you want to call them.
Well, Machine, if you don't mind mentioning that theory you had about Jack and the Beanstalk and like Tower of Babel, I would be, because I kind of forgot what you said, but I thought it was kind of related to what Rocky just mentioned. So if you want to do that, I would be interested.
Well, it's not my theory. It's from Hyperborean, where it's this thing about how Jack and the Beanstalk is about how you create the Tower of Babel to go and up to Shambhala to kill the giants that live in Shambhala, because by doing this, you liberate creation, you destroy the material realm, which is an illusion. You know, you kill the demiurge, which people think is God, and so on and so forth. So there's this entire subtext to the idea of Jack and the Beanstalk, which is destroying Shambhala, right, which is the goal of Hyperboreanism, and the whole idea there is to stop the last avatar from manifesting, right? So,
well,
I believe
isn't that
because I think
That-
Shambhala is mentioned in the Puranas and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Well, isn't
Yeah.
that kind of related to what we're talking about with like DPH's book? Is like what I'm saying is like, isn't there like a way that they're trying to syncretize it, perhaps, of like the Antichrist versus actually like the actual end times or something like that, where there, does that make sense? Like where accelerationism might not actually be trying to hasten Jesus to come, but instead like maybe what you're saying or something like that.
Yeah, to me, Hyperborea is like the North Kingdoms, Hyperborea, the Black Rock, the North Star, the center of the. If you're a flat earther, you know that the North Star never moves, and that all the other stars circle around it, and that the colors mentioned in the scriptures of the throne room of God is the same colors as the North Star. If you look at it through a P1000, you could see. So Hyperborea could be the, Black Rock could be where, the devil was taken up to a mountain and it showed the whole world. Well, if Jesus is at the North Pole, or that's the throne room of God or something like that, then wouldn't Jesus keep his enemy close? Like Black Rock would be in, so that the pit would be, so if we believe in the 1,000-year reign of Christ is over and we're in Satan's little season and he's kind of deceiving the whole world right now.
Well, I tell you what, there's a black rock in Mecca right there on the black cube.
Yeah, so that's part of it.
It's called.
The Bible mentions that the new Jerusalem will come down. It's 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles wide by 1,500 miles tall. The only two geographical forms that could be would be a pyramid or a cube with equal dimensions. And so they got people thinking that those are evil, and that if you ever see that coming down, it's a mothership and we need to attack it and shit like that. When it could be actually God coming down with the New Jerusalem.
But do you think that there's do you think there's a sync? Go ahead.
No, no, I'm just saying I'm not gonna believe anything coming down for sure. But I appreciate you guys. You gotta like go. Yeah, but
Well, yeah, well, I'll get off. I'm gonna get off.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, thank you so much for joining, Dom. Blessings soon.
Agape.
Yeah, I got paid. Blessings. Yep. All right.
Sheesh. Easy, Rocky
Yeah, peace, guys.
and Dom.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
That last sentence in that article talking about that one company using machine learning for these brains or whatever. It's like you just come to things like, yeah, like if you're saying like the AI is like releasing the demon or whatever, let's just give it all our neurological information and brains to it so it can like literally like devise a plan and enslaving us or killing us through our brains or some shit. Like come on. It's crazy.
Weird shit for sure, Neuro. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, I figure you guys can use some nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah, nightmare fuel, as is this entire channel, pretty much. Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah, blessings, brother. And the other people that are watching, Dr. D, Mega Man, thank you for watching again. And your commentary. Right, let's read Mega Man's commentary. People spend their lives chasing shadows while reality waits silently behind the machinery of thought. Wow. The mind dreams about life instead of living, dreams about truth instead of seeing, dreams about love while remaining trapped in fear, dreams about awakening while protecting the very illusions that keep it asleep. And worst of all, most people do not even realize they're dreaming. They defend the dream, protect the dream, build identities inside the dream, fight wars inside the dream, suffer endlessly inside the dream. Then call this confusion human nature. Blessings,
Oof.
Mega Man.
Spitting fire over here.
Spitting
Kinda
fire.
like Matrix kind of vibes going on.
Spitting hot flames. as
Maybe
usual.
I'm too rude to say it to compare it to that, but yeah.
Yeah, Rocky, what prophetic dream? You got to tell us about that, man. You know, blessings. So I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
like leave us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, leave us on a crazy cliffhanger here. But yeah, we'll be we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, Rocky will tell us his prophetic vision. Do you guys have anything else?
I just wanted to ask you about, do you think that it's possible to syncretize the Hyperborean stuff with like Christian pseudo eschatology?
Well, they have. Right? It's Christos Lucifer, right? Christos Lucifer versus Jehovah Satan. You know, Christos Lucifer versus Jehovah Satan.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to like dig deeper into that one because
That's their eschatology. Yeah, that's their eschatological scheme. Ask Hyperborean about it. About Jehovah Satan versus Christos Lucifer. They have a Christos figure within Hyperboreanism already.
But
right?
but what I mean is like, it seems like the quote unquote Christian Zionist or whatever you want to call them are doing the same thing essentially. In my opinion, I mean,
maybe they're trying to hijack their project, right? It could be sort of spiritual jujitsu. Right.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of what this picture I'm holding up kind of represents, honestly. So.
Sad, Jamal.
Spiritual jujitsu. Yeah, there you go. God is their daddy. Yeah, exactly. The gummy bears. Yeah, he's been using a lot of gummy bear symbolism. So yeah, blessings.
Yeah, thanks Gen X Jeff. You gummy bear pilled me. So all right, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, peace.
Easy.
All right.
Do not seek the transhumanist treasure.
Exactly. We'll be back with more of that article, and also Renee Guénon. And of course we'll proceed from there to look at Skolmowski, Mumford, and I know I said I'd bring back the pre-Socratics, but I think we will take another week just to look at the technology stuff, right, before we come back to that, right? So yes, it looks like we still have a lot of stuff hung over from last week, and I got some good shows for you guys, some good music to explore, and some interesting, obviously as usual, right, ideas, you know, possibly the most extreme cases, right, of technology and, you know, spirituality and, you know, philosophy run amok, you know, in this, you know, kiss on the apocalypse. Blessings to the people. I greatly appreciate you guys. And yeah,
Rocky says it's about overcoming the Babylon system was his prophetic dream.
oh yeah,
That
but
comment there.
yeah, oh yeah.
So we get a little bit of a teaser.
Yeah, a little bit of a teaser. We'll definitely probe Rocky for his idea about destroying the Babylon system, something that definitely we all should participate in.
Babylon all.
Exactly. So yeah, blessings to the people. And of course, peace to all the people, even to the Hyperboreans, you know, and all the others, right, that are there. You know, even to the Gnostics and all the people that are there, right? We greatly appreciate you, even to the transhumanists, right? We're simply asking tons of questions, right? And looking at different arenas. And of course, yeah, blessings. Thank you for joining us here on The Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. And join us tomorrow. Blessings.
Lenco Industries, tenfold intricacies. No business justice, no business peace. The Cytotron fight, flight, freeze, or fawn comes from the gut. Not just a brainy affair, and a check 1-2 to whomever claims me as their squares. I reach kindred spirits on a level that's abstract. We're all kind of messed under the laws of the NASDAQ. This class track culture is reaching its last act. You need chutzpah to branch out of your shtetl. What's the last time you can't say you settled, crab scratch? My balls are as heavy as a shot putters. A tsunami can't happen here. Cocksuckers, every shoreline will change in this century. I got something special for the Civil War sesquicentenary. Adults are a litter, a waste to energy. Stuck in the middle, afraid of their penury. Infantile votes for a surrogate parent. Codicil to the Tocqueville's American experiment. Only thing changed behavior? Imminent death. Tongues rot, think they got cinnamon breath. Mortal men and women named Beth. See me say, that's him in the flesh. Underground hypocrites obsessed with celebrities. Your friends are your enemies when it's quote-unquote better than me. They gave slave houses as a wall between natives. So who says a stiff upper lip means uncreative? If homelessness didn't exist, I'd say sure, this country's Christian. Humble congregations, bumbling publications. Regardless, religion fails us, so we turn to psychology. You gotta have the balls to reveal enough that you can't fall in love with all of me. No eye contact with baby, call her colicky. Used to alphabetize records, now cloud is idolatry. Write songs instead of pressing like on a wall for Paul to see. Is my mic on? It's been a type long time since I outrhyme my icons. Strike one, grown-ups know honesty is not the best policy. Don't ask me my opinion if I isn't impressed. I'm not a cynical guest, it's just that you're in denial. Go ahead, what's your definition of imminent death? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? Freeze, right? Right. Easy, night, night. Wait, what? Wrong. Fight! A fine showing of mind-blowing rhyme flowing.